If you'd like to be featured on Newark TV, why not drop us a line on info@newark-tv.co.uk. Oh, and don't forget, hit the subscribe button.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rory. I'm 24 years old. I'm a fitness instructor at Code Fitness, going on to becoming a personal trainer.
Rory, you have actually quite an interesting story to tell, because I believe, and I've been told, that you've lost nearly 6 stone in weight. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it? 6 stone, that's a fair amount. I mean, I'm looking at you now and thinking, oh, he must have been a whopper. You know? Before we get into that, take us back to your childhood, yeah? What was it like growing up?
So I had a really good upbringing, I did. Loving family, lived in a very nice house. I can't complain really at all. It's, as I said, loving family really.
What about the sports side? Did you do any sport?
I did quite a bit of sport, yeah. I played football when I was younger, and I played rugby also, a bit of cricket. So I wasn't an inactive child. Right.
But you just had this little bit of a weight problem.
Yeah, I was very much, I enjoyed a lot of sweets and food and stuff, and because my parents loved me so much, they let me have it every once in a while, let me eat a lot of food that I wanted to.
Really? Or was it a case, shut up, Rory, boy, feed him quick. He's opening his mouth, quick. Bless.
Yeah, they did feed me healthy food as well, but it was, if I want, they'd give me treats and stuff like that, and sweets and stuff.
All right, so we normally, what is synonymous with the size of kids when they're at school and everything else, levels of bullying. Did you actually get any of that?
So secondary school I did get a bit bullied, yeah. Primary school I didn't really. There was more secondary school as such. Right. Just a few.
They're less forgiving, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And one of my friends did get bullied a lot, and so I was sort of standing up for him as such like that, and then from that also, picked on from there. So
you copped it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So
how big do you think you were when you were at school then?
I wasn't massive, but I remember when I was 14 years old, I remember once weighing myself and I was about 85 kilos, about not going on to 90 as such. I couldn't tell you the stones on that though, but yeah, so
we just need to know that's big, isn't it? That's heavy.
It's heavier than I am now.
Oh, it's heavy. Okay, yeah. Right, heavier than you are now, obviously. Yeah, look at you.
And also I wasn't as tall as I am now. So
right.
So yeah, so there was quite a lot of there's quite a lot of fat in it as well. It wasn't just muscle. So
how did it make you feel being that size as a child?
As a child, I didn't really notice it as much as when I was older, but then again, I think it's because, I couldn't do too much about it in the way that I was still being active, really active. And I was also, I'd eat school meals, I was eating school meals as such, so, you couldn't really take food into school as such. Cause
did you go around for the seconds?
they noticed me doing that. They used to have a salad bar with sausage rolls. I used to sneak them in my pocket as such, so they didn't notice.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I love it. Oh dear. I was nicknamed Jumbo at school, so that will give you some idea.
Okay.
I was big as well, but then again, like you, I used to play football and I used to play a lot of rugby. Rugby was my game, and I was the school hooker.
So was I.
Oh, was you?
I played hooky. Yeah.
I loved it. For me, but I think the thing for me was, carrying too much weight was always a bit of a hindrance.
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially on on the sports field as well.
Yeah.
Always getting injuries as such, either rolling my ankle. I've even broken my nose when I was younger as well. Going on towards 17 years old. Just for 17 years old, I broke my back playing rugby. So yeah. That didn't help with the weight loss.
That's just shocked me. You broke your back at 17.
Yeah, me L5 lumbar region. Yeah, broke that. I had a year and a half out of sport.
Jesus.
So,
well, obviously lying there. What happened then? Were they just feeding you then as well? did you bulk up? Or did you actually reduce down?
I did bulk up. Yeah, I was. It wasn't a case of like I wasn't able to move, so it wasn't that bad of a break that I couldn't move about. I could still move, and it was just obviously massively reduced movements and stuff.
Yeah.
For the first 9 months, I wasn't able to do any exercise. And I remember the first exercise I was able to do was actually just cycling in an upright position. And I remember first place I actually did that was actually at Code. When they.
Oh right.
So I was back then as well. I was a member there, and it's really really handy having that as well. Yeah. So.
All right, well, let's talk about how you actually got into the fitness game. How did that all come about?
So it was actually when I was at school. So I really enjoyed sports. I really enjoyed fitness. I mean, so at lunchtimes they'd put on fitness classes and stuff like that at school, just to help us out, especially with sport. I remember going there and it was just me and one other lad every single week doing it. But because I really enjoyed it, I was happy to do it, and it'd take half hour out of my lunch, but it was voluntary, so I did it for that reason. And from there I got into GCSE PE, really enjoyed learning the anatomy and physiology behind it all, and it just really I just got some keen interest in it.
But where does that come from? Is mum and dad that way inclined?
Not really, no, they're not. I think what it could be actually is that my dad, when I was really young, started training himself, at a gym in Newark. And from there, he used to take me along to training sessions as such. Really enjoyed it. It was one of the best times I'll be able to spend with him, so I was really enjoying that, and maybe from there it went on.
So it was like a bonding thing that you had as well?
Potentially, yeah, and also a bit of rivalry. We're very competitive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even when I was 14, 15 or something, I was very competitive compared to him. So,
did you ever whoop his ass? Weight-wise?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah?
He would kill me for saying it, but yeah, I did.
I love you, Dad. Yeah. But I did whoop your ass. Yeah.
Especially in leg days and stuff like that, when I was
Yeah.
training with him and such. Yeah, I was matching him on weights when I was 16, something like that, 15, 16. So, but then again, he hadn't been training for too much long after that anyway. So
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So, what work did you do? What have you done, jobs-wise?
Jobs-wise, what in regards to fitness or just any?
No, just any jobs. From school. Where did you go from school?
So from school, I have been a labourer at an electrical contractors firm. Then from there, I've done work placements at a physiotherapy place and also a gym. Actually at Code.
Right.
I did that when I was at university.
Hang on a minute. So what was you doing at university?
Sports science.
Oh, you did sport. Oh, Loughborough.
Leeds Beckett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was there for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then did that there, and also whilst I was there, we did work placement. I did work placement at Code Fitness. Luke was he's nice enough to put me through that. So.
Well, what made you come back to Newark to do that? With Code, because there's plenty of other places around.
Well, there is, but I've got I get on really well with Code. Luke's done a ton for me, so Steve, and from there also it's I just really enjoy being at Code, and it helps when you can live at home for free, doesn't it?
So, yeah, you dog, you. I waste my money. Yeah, mummy and daddy can take it. Bless. With regards to Code itself, then, going there, what attracted you to them?
The facilities. I'll be
Really?
honest. Yeah, not trying to upsell it here, but the massive facilities they've got. It's fantastic. The amounts of weights they've got there. Ranging from the dumbbells and also the equipment they've got there. It's just.
Right.
I've always found I've been in loads of gyms, either in Newark or in Leeds, and it's just never been as good. Even the strength and conditioning gym at university, where they have international athletes there. The Brownie brothers used to train there. They used to have sessions there, training there, because they only live a couple of miles away.
Right.
And wasn't as good as Code. Wasn't the actual equipment itself wasn't as good as Code.
So it can actually make a difference then?
Massively, yeah.
I didn't realise that.
Especially when you appreciate everything that comes along as such. It's the equipment there. You just know it's going to be sustainable. It's going to be reliable as well. So
right.
Yeah.
So when did you decide then, it was going to be code?
What, working wise?
Yeah, work-wise, yeah.
So probably in the summer of 2021. So I came back and I wanted to go into personal training, but I've always been a big lad, and I thought when I've lost my weight, I'll go into it.
How big were you at that point then, while you were at uni?
So whilst I was at uni, I wasn't too bad because I was still playing a lot of sport and such,
Right.
but I was about, well, when I say not too bad compared to when I started my weight loss, it was I was about 106 kilos, 107 kilos, and back then I thought that wasn't too bad as such. Obviously now, comparing myself to today, it's a hell of a lot more, but
Sure.
back then, yeah. So, and also I didn't take it massively seriously whilst at my weight loss whilst at university. I'm there to enjoy myself, and I was going out partying and such.
Well, you're gonna. I mean, it's part and parcel of uni life, isn't it?
Exactly. That's
You know what I mean? I suppose it's only when you get through it, or you're in that third year, where you suddenly go, oh, I've got to knuckle down here.
Exactly, that's it. Once you get to that last year, you just got to stop going out as much. You can still go out as much. You need that break, but you knuckle down and try and finish your course.
So, what did you do then? Did you just ring them up, or?
Code.
Yes.
So when they had a job vacancy, I applied for it via email, like they stated on the job vacancy page, and then got an interview for them.
Oh, really? So you didn't actually send your information through just off spec? You waited until an opening came?
Yeah, exactly. I waited.
Why didn't you just bang your details in?
Because they'd just taken on quite a few new people.
Oh,
so
okay.
I thought, if I've gone, if I'm going to put it in there, then it might be a waste of time as such.
Right.
And I was a member there anyway, so I was still in the right environment.
Oh, okay.
So as soon as I found out that there was, there's going to be a job vacancy, I could have, I went for it. So
what's been the benefits of actually, working alongside them, and being part of that team now then?
Well, I meet a lot more people who train at the gym as well. I've got to become friends with them as such. Whilst keeping a professional status, obviously. Also, learning so much off each of the personal trainers there. You learn tons of stuff. I mean, I thought I knew a lot when I started training, myself as such, and then learning off them, just completely different ball game.
It really?
Yeah, massively. I'm changing a lot of my training now. I am, because I do my own training plan, so I'm changing a lot of my training programs.
That's interesting, though, isn't it? You see, because when you get you go to university and you learn all the bits and pieces that you learn, that's one thing, isn't it? Is that just they teach you that stuff just to pass an exam or whatever? Because, like you've just said, you've come into a gym and you've realised there's a whole different world of exercise and nutrition and everything else. How would you put that?
So a lot of stuff did integrate as such, especially nutrition side. I did learn some new stuff off Luke and Steve, obviously, but with mainly focus on the training side. And at university, because it was sports and exercise sides, it wasn't specific to training, personal training as such. It wasn't looking towards that. It was looking more towards, you still have your biomechanics as such. So you're looking at the way that different, the planes of motion also work.
Yeah.
But it's a lot less specialised in training. Is what I'm learning off Luke and Steve.
Right.
So rather than being in a lab, and looking at how certain people do different movements, it's learning how to manipulate the movements in order to get the most out of the exercise.
Right. What do you reckon the biggest thing you've learned at Code?
The biggest thing I've probably learnt at Code is it was a tough one actually. We're learning a lot at the moment, so it's probably difficult to say the biggest thing because every week we're doing stuff to help develop.
So new stuff.
So
It's a continual journey then.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why it's so difficult to say.
Yeah.
The most I've learnt there, because it is a continual journey. We're learning stuff every week. New stuff. So which it will help me out in the future, but also help our members there as well. Help us give it across to them.
Right.
So yeah. So it's it's fantastic being there. I learn a hell of a lot, and I hope to learn more.
Do you actually believe that, you know, in order to go forward and be more successful, like the two lads, Steve and Luke, it is a case that you've got to put the time and the effort in, and you've also got to do that personal development, all that different levels of training and everything else?
Definitely, yeah. I think with the way that I feel like I learn, in order to be better as myself, like be a better trainer and learn a lot more knowledge, you know, I feel like I've got to implement it into myself before I can implement it into others.
Right. Oh, okay. Right.
So sort of feel like if I get a sense of if it works on me, then I'm going to give it to others.
Right. So you do a personal journey first.
Yeah, and as such, yeah. I mean, I also feel like, you know, I understand it better if I can implement it on myself first and then give it to others.
Yeah, cool.
So a lot of the stuff that I learn there, you know, I'll incorporate it into, you know, my own training or my own nutrition and incorporate it from there, so then I can give it off to others if I find out it works.
Great. All right, listen. So what we're going to do now is, I now want to touch on this when you were a bigger boy.
Okay.
All right. So I'm looking at you now. Blow your face up to what you think you were size-wise. Was it?
Don't even think I can do that.
Was it big?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's probably looking like that. Like it's.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah, like you couldn't see like any cheekbones. I mean, you probably can't see it now, but you can't see any cheekbones. I didn't have a proper jawline. You know, I had a big chin as well, so
it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't recognise it. I mean, it'd probably go like that as such. Wow. So.
All right, well that's given me a rather scary picture. But now let's talk about, you know, how you actually reduced all that. You know, so what did you do? What was the first thing you did to, you know, to realise and move it off?
In regards to losing the weight as such, first thing I did was just reduce the calories down.
And how did you do that?
So I used what I learned at university. I used a certain equation which we all learned at university.
Which is what?
It's called the Harris-Benedict equation. And from there, I worked out what you call your BMR, which is basal metabolic rate, and use a physical activity level in order to work out how many calories you'll be eating in order to maintain your everyday life.
Yeah.
And you take calories off it. I took more than usual, like more than many people would.
Why?
Just because I know I could sustain it.
Oh, okay.
So I made sure that my goal was sustainable as well. You know, realistic and sustainable. Using like.
Do you think? Sorry for interrupting. Do you think that's really important? Yeah. You know, taking small steps. It's got to be achievable, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. You can't do a calorie deficit, which is what I did. You can't do that and make it so low you're not going to achieve it. Otherwise, you're going to get to the point where you're just going to yo-yo. You're just going to lose a bit of weight, then you're going to get unmotivated by it because the weight stops, and then you're going to go back to where you were originally and just keep doing that, I feel. Or, you know, if someone says, oh, put my calories down to 1,000, well, are you going to stick on 1,000? Oh, I'm going to stick on there for about 6-7 weeks. Yeah, you'll lose a lot of weight, but then you might put it back on again.
Right.
So that's what I thought. I made it so I can achieve it and I can sustain it.
Absolutely. So where did we go? What figures are we talking about? What did you do?
So I put on, my calorie wise was about, my maintenance at the time was about 3,200.
What you were consuming?
No, so that was what I would have to consume to stay at my weight.
Right.
So I ended up eating 2,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people would say is a hell of a lot. You know, a hell of a big loss. That is.
Right.
You're losing 1,200 calories a day. You know, so it can be a hell of a lot. And for a lot of clients, you wouldn't put them on that. But because I knew it's sustainable and I made sure my protein intake was quite high, I made sure it was about 160, 165 grams a day.
Now let's just talk about protein for a minute. How important is protein?
Massively.
It really?
Massively, yeah. Your body can burn more calories of having a higher muscle mass than it can with having a lower muscle mass, because there's still weight there, but it's a good sort of weight in the way that it's not going to be damaging to any organs as such. Right. It's going to actually help you, and it's going to make you stronger. So
what happens if you don't have an intake of protein?
You won't get the muscle there, and you can actually go into what we call atrophy, where you lose muscle mass.
Right. So protein, what type of proteins are we talking about?
So I usually get meats in, such as your chickens. You know, I was enjoying what I was eating, so I was having pork, I was having steak, minced meat. I was having cottage pies. One thing that actually surprises people is that I had sausage and mash. I was eating sausage and mash, I was.
How often?
Well, it's sort of whenever I fancied it. So some days it'd be twice a week, some days it wouldn't even be any time. You know, I didn't limit myself to to what meal per se.
Right.
I didn't have a specific plan. I just made sure that, I was a bit cautious on what I did in the way that I weighed my stuff out, weighed my meats out.
How important is that?
Massively, because you can then work out how many calories is in it if you know the right conversion units. So I was having steak and chips some nights, using like a healthier way of cooking chips.
Is there a healthier way of cooking chips? How was you doing it?
I think so, yeah. So I'd cut up my potatoes, keep the skin on, get that bit of fibre in there,
okay, yeah.
and then boil them, and then get some 1-cal spray, spray them, and then put them in the oven. Leave them in there for about half hour. They come out quite nice.
Oh, okay. So cut out the fat and all the...
Without frying them, yeah.
Yeah, frying them.
Oven roast them, yeah.
Okay.
And if you cook them right, they can come out quite crispy still.
So how much of a difference is there between a fried chip and a baked chip?
Oof. So in the fried chip, you're still going to get a lot of the fats that you're actually cooking it in.
Right.
So especially if you cook it in olive oil. So maybe in a tablespoon of olive oil, you're looking 90 calories as such.
Oh.
So when you put in, you're probably looking similar conversion units. I couldn't tell you exactly because I didn't.
Sure.
Because I never did it. So
Yeah, right.
I don't own a fryer, anything like that. So I've never fried anything as such in my life in that way. So I couldn't tell you the exact units, but I know this was quite a healthy way because I know exactly what was going into it.
Right.
I know there's about 70 to 77 calories per 100 grams of potatoes. And there's obviously you've got 1-cal spray, you can just count how many sprays, so it's 1 calorie per spray. A lot easier.
Okay.
So
right.
it's really easy to do that, and then also you can get you can season them with salt and pepper as such, it works out well. So that's what I was doing as such. I practically lost majority of my weight on potatoes.
See, I'm not getting my head around it. so how much potato would you eat?
I wouldn't eat it wouldn't be a massive amount. Right. So obviously depends on how much I'd eaten throughout the whole day. So I'd probably have about 350 grams of potatoes.
So what is that? Is that like a couple of potatoes or medium sized or what?
Yeah, so large potatoes is about 1.5 or something like that, or looking like your average baked potato.
Yeah.
You can do other sorts of stuff like you got your new potatoes as such, could be about depending on the size obviously 6 to 8 roughly at least. So you get a good amount of potatoes in 350 grams.
Right.
It's enough that it can help give you some fuel for the next day. Slow release energy, help you fuel your next session as well.
So let me just hang on. Okay. I can't imagine like losing weight on potatoes and everything else, but as you say, it's the mix and everything else. Give me what you do on a daily basis now. What do you do? Because you look absolutely amazing. If you're telling me you were like a beefer, feel me?
Yeah.
One of them. To where you are now, how do you sustain where you are now? Then, what's your daily routine?
So my daily routine, I'm used to eating 2 meals a day. It's not conventional for a lot of people, but because I can sustain it, I'm happy to do it. It's not anything that causes me any issues as such. Don't cause any problems. So I stick on 2 meals a day. I like to have 2 bigger meals as opposed to 3 smaller meals. So I make sure I split my protein intake up as much as possible within those 2 meals, but then also I'll have some on the side as well. So the whole thing equates to it. So for example, my breakfast or lunch may be a 3-egg omelette with some ham as well, and I have a turkey burger and a slice of toast.
What for breakfast?
Yeah, breakfast to lunch. So,
right. Yeah.
That'd be my, I'll also do poached eggs or, dry fried as such, 1 calorie spray fried eggs as such, but I'm very much love me eggs. I can have them every single day for about most days when I lost my weight I had eggs.
Right.
So I didn't get tired of them. I'm still not tired of them now.
Right. I see there's a big bowl of them on the side there. Yeah.
Oh, it used to be more than that.
Oh, is it? Oh, really?
I used to buy a 30 pack. Lasts me 2
Wow.
weeks. Yeah.
How long would that last you?
2 weeks. So three eggs a day. Then I'd have a couple of days off it, obviously, because don't want to, get too much, can't it? But
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd have a couple of days off it, but that would tend to be 2 weeks. 15 eggs a week.
So when you talk about two big meals a day, would that be, let's say, breakfast? Okay, well you've got breakfast and lunch. Well, so if they are the two big meals, you mean you fast for the rest of the time until the following day?
Yeah, so I'd have because we're obviously lost all my weight during lockdown as such, and most days now I can still eat at lunchtime, and I'm working work some mornings as well, so I don't get hungry whilst I work. I'll probably have it about 12 p.m. or something, or 12:30, and then I won't eat until 7-8 o'clock, or because I finish late sometimes as well. It's difficult to get my food in as such to keep it fresh and to do it at a reasonable time. So sometimes I have to either sacrifice like freshness, or whether I sacrifice eating it earlier and have it later. But when I'm working later, I don't get hungry, so I can sustain it till later on in the evening.
All right. I mean, nutrition obviously is a massive part of this, isn't it?
Oh, massively. There's a lot of people who would, say, oh, don't have it this late, or you can have it at a certain time to maximise all the potentials. But when I was starting off, I wasn't caring about that. I was making sure I enjoyed what I eat.
Right.
I mean, I've got a spice cabinet down there, like in one of the cupboards.
Yeah.
It's full of different spices which I really enjoy. Moroccan, tandoori, Chinese, barbecue, piri piri. You can name loads of them. I've got them down there. It's all seasonings, all rubs, no sauces.
Right.
So
again, very important, isn't it?
Massively, yeah. I've always found there's a lot less calories in the rubs and the seasonings than there is in the sauces.
Right.
So I'll try and stay away from them as much as possible, but sometimes you've got to have them. Especially if I'm having a wrap, sometimes I have wraps to mix it up a bit from potatoes.
Sure.
I'll have them, I'll have a bit of sauce in it.
So, I mean, the thing for me is, looking at it, it is a lifestyle change, isn't it? You've got to run with that, haven't you? If you want to be healthy and everything else, I know people that have been on the weight loss. Was it the Weight Watchers and everything else?
Watchers, yeah.
They lose it, they think they're all right, and then bang! It's that yo-yo dieting, isn't it?
Massively.
It doesn't. So, what would you say is the best thing to do in order to lose weight?
Calorie deficit. That's my belief. You eat less and you're going to burn. You're going to lose weight. That's my thoughts on it, anyway.
And that will keep it off. What about the level of exercise that you need to do? Can we just be healthy just by doing the calorie deficit, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in getting your steps in as well. So, I'm making sure I'm getting at least 10,000 a day in. It's a lot for some people to do, especially with office jobs.
Right.
So it's just keeping active as such as well. It doesn't have to be weight training. It can be, just going for a walk around the park, or you can still lose weight doing it that way as such, but a lot of the weight loss happens in the kitchen.
Yeah.
There's loads of phrases that say, you lose all your fat in the kitchen. 80% of your diet, equates to fat loss. There's certain terminologies that people use.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in it as well. I believe a lot of it is happening in what you ingest.
What about, physical activities and everything else? I mean, because not everybody wants to go to the gym. Some people are turned off by it. What would you say to that?
You don't need to go to the gym. To lose weight, just be active. Go and play five-a-side with some friends. Join a squash club. Start playing rugby. It's doesn't have to be sports related. Even just getting out in the park walking around. Doesn't have to be in a park even, you know, walking around town.
Yeah.
There's plenty of stuff to do that is free, you know, that you can go and do in your spare time, such as I used to park run before lockdown, and before I had one of my biggest injuries that helps actually put on my weight.
Yeah.
I used to do that and I used to enjoy it. I mean, running 5k, a lot of people see that as thinking, oh no, I don't like running. Fair enough. You know, you don't have to run, you can walk it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do it as park run. You know, you can go and walk wherever you want.
Right.
It's just about keeping active in any way. Your body doesn't know whether you're weight training, doesn't know whether you're playing football, doesn't know whether you're just walking in the park, unless it's different intensities. But then again, you know, being active is better than not being active.
Yeah, sure. What would be the benefit of joining Code?
Joining Code, well, there's a few different memberships. A lot of people like the Premier membership, which is because you get a lot of help during that as well from people such as myself.
Yeah.
There's other trainers there as well, fitness instructors that can help you along with that. We give you programs, we give you nutrition advice as well. And also you get to see where your body's at the moment with regards to muscle mass, water density, body fat, visceral fat, etc. Using one of them specialised machines there.
Right.
And you know, you get classes included in the Premier one. You know, joining the Access one is also very good because you just get, you know, access to, well, don't just get, you know, there's a lot of great facilities there that you can go and use, and it's, you know, it's second to none. The amount of leg exercises we have there compared to any other gym in Newark, you know, it's unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, we've got 4 different ways of doing a squat without even having to touch an actual squat.
Oh,
so
go on then, run us through it. What would it be?
So you got a power squat there,
Yeah.
you got a hack squat there,
Yeah.
you got a belt squat there, and you got a pendulum squat there. And they're just the machines. You don't even have to touch any barbells as such to go and do a squat without, you know, we're doing them. So there's tons of leg equipment there, you know, got loads of stuff there. And you don't, you know, there's also, not unlimited, but you got a lot many more benches there, you know, just than most gyms, so you're not struggling to use them when you want to use dumbbells or use anything else. You know, it's the facilities really that, you know, is amazing there, and the equipment there is second to none.
Because what's the brand they're using?
Atlantis, and they're also using Prime Fitness as well.
Right.
Which is a big up and coming American brand there, that uses a lot of different handles as such that we've got actually at Code that can help manipulate muscles better. You know, make them work in a better way, you know, than just ordinary equipment. So.
It just seems that the lads and the whole team there really are dedicated to getting the best out of your bodies. You know, the way that you can work and everything else. Because they just seem to be constantly looking for the next best thing in order for body conditioning and you name it, whatever. Would that be fair to say?
Massively, yeah. That's I mean, that it could be classed as an understatement as such, in the way that, you know, they do really care about, you know, trying to get everybody to be, you know, to their best. You know, they give on the Code Premier, they give you that help, like, you know, they have us there to help you.
Yeah.
Not many gyms can offer that. They don't offer fitness instructors as part of the membership to go and actually support you.
Right.
We have regular check-ins, you know, to make sure that everyone's keeping on their goals, or, you know, if they've got any questions or they've got any, you know, struggles as such, we can help them out with that. You know, it's that caring aspect, it's that personal aspect, I think, that we actually give off.
Right. What about you got any apps?
Yeah, so we have a couple of apps actually. We put all our training programs on one app that we use, which also provides videos of the actual exercise as well. So,
right. So okay. So if you're not around or whatever, we could just follow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Video. Oh right. Okay.
Yeah. So if we're already helping a client out and someone else needs some help as such, if we're busy, they can look on the app and they can see an exercise on there, see which exercise it is. A lot of people know what the exercise is, they just don't know where it is in the gym.
Right.
So they can look at that and then they can see, oh, it's over there, or, you know, or what movements am I doing here? Oh, I'm doing this movement. You know, fantastic.
Right. Oh, that'd be absolute. cracking to do, because like you say, I mean, you look in a gym and you just think, okay, well, what exercise am I supposed to be doing? And actually, the other thing for me is, you know, what muscle set am I using? You know, am I building up at any one time? So that gives you that on there as well, does it? It'll let you know exactly what's...
Yeah, it should do. Yeah, definitely. It's,
right.
It tells you, you know, so we also let you know as well. So, you know, if you do forget obviously what we say, you know, there's also, says on there as well, you know, it tells you, you know, a lot about it, and it tells you rep ranges, tells you rest. You can even have a timer on it as well. You can go back to previous weights that you've done. So if you're thinking, oh, I can't remember what I did on here, you know, I'm doing shoulder press, what did I do here? Just click back on the history button and then it comes up with it.
Right. So does that mean you have to save the template?
Yeah, so you save it.
Right, got ya.
It's not difficult to save though.
No.
When you click finish workout, it comes up with the option to save it. You don't have to go out your way as such to go and do it. It comes up with the option, you just click it and then save it as a name, and then from there it's dead simple to use, really simple. Yeah.
Do you have do they run like boot camps or anything like that? Because that's pretty popular nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, so we run loads of different boot camps. You know, ranging from all the fitness instructors. We have, I believe, at the moment we have over 40 different boot camps throughout the whole week.
Serious?
Yeah, we put on boot camps at 6:30 in the morning, 7:15 as well, and then we range from 5:30 straight through till 8 o'clock, quarter to 9.
Wow. What's the busiest time for it down there then, do you reckon?
So busiest time is probably either 6:30 to about 7:30, or you're looking about 5:30 till 7 in the evening.
So you've got those that are going to work and then coming back from work.
Exactly, but it never gets busy. It's never too much that you can't get on anything.
Okay. Cool.
You know, so there's always an alternative for you. You know, that's the reason why it's as big as it is. You know, because you can then get into whatever exercise you want to do as well. Or if you can't get on there, then you can do an alternative very similar. Yeah,
sure. Let's just go back to that body shape of yours.
100%.
I don't like to keep harping on it because I know it's fantastic. So with the exercise and everything else you was doing, what did you find was the most beneficial way of working? You know, in order to drop that. You mentioned the calories through the nutrition.
Yes.
What else was you doing?
So I was making sure I get my steps in massively.
Right.
So I was very lucky that because I lived back home during my lockdowns, during the lockdown stuff. I was very lucky that my parents had it. Well, my mum had she had a treadmill, so I could go on there, get my steps in, or you know, if like in order to help keep my mum motivated, we'd also go out on bike rides and stuff.
Oh, okay.
During the time that obviously was allowed out, you know, we'd do that, you know, together.
Yeah.
Really helped her as well, you know, help my mum, you know, not just also lose a bit of weight, but because she was still working as such, helped her unwind and helped, you know, so which also helped me as well, because you know, once. Sorry. No,
I was just going to say. Sorry for interrupting. Would you say then, you know, that through what you were doing, your mental health was a lot fitter?
In a way, yeah. I mean, so with having my family there, you know, it was still good. I think there is a misconception about losing your weight, your mental health's going to go up. That is a misconception, I believe. Like just in my own personal experience, you know, it's not. You're not going to think, oh, I've lost all this weight, I'm going to feel fantastic as such. It's also working on your mental health as well whilst doing your physical health.
Yeah, I can almost see that. I mean, for yourself, tell me if I'm wrong, you know, going from whether it's chubby, large, fat, or whatever you want to call it, and then seeing yourself reduced down to this new image, that must have been a big lift for you, self-esteem wise.
In an essence, yeah. I mean, a lot of my friends were, like, you know, still great friends when I was bigger.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to when I was, you know, more lean. You know, they didn't treat me any differently. You know, so I was very happy in that aspect.
Right.
You know, so.
Do you think they had a bit more respect for you?
Possibly, because they knew that I was more motivated to do stuff. So, you know, when they've always seen me big, they've always seen me trying to like diet. I've always yo-yoed. Right. You know, as such. So when they saw that I lost all the weight, as such, you know, they were probably had a lot more respect. Yeah. I mean, obviously through lockdowns and stuff. Yeah. I probably lost in the first lockdown about over 3 stone, nearly 3.5 stone.
Wow.
So they didn't see me, from one
Sure,
lockdown to the other, so they probably didn't recognise me. I actually had someone in the gym who I hadn't seen since before lockdown.
Yeah.
And they were looking for me in the gym, and they asked my mum, "Where's Rory?" And she's like, "On the deadlift platform over there." And she was going over, she's like, "No, he's not." Like, didn't actually recognise me.
Oh, wow, no, that's incredible.
And that's someone that I've known my whole life. That's a family friend. So,
wow.
Yeah, so like, it can be, it's one of those things that you do get a lot of respect for, but also as well, you've got to be able to accept it yourself in order to help with that mental health as well.
Sure. That's good. If you had to give somebody some advice, some words of wisdom or, motivation, what would it be?
Regards to fat loss?
Yeah.
So motivation would be probably, it's not a slow process. Sorry, no, it's not a fast process, sorry, it's a slow process. Right. So repetition is key, I think. Repetition and believing in what you're actually doing and what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
It's got to be achievable, but also, you want it's going to be something that you really enjoy. Can't be something that someone else is thinking, "Oh, look great on you," or look fantastic doing this.
Yeah.
You've got to think, "Oh, it's something that I would really like," or something that I really want.
That I was just going to say that. See, that's the key, isn't it? You've got to want it. 100%. You've got to want it. If you want to look slimmer, if you want to look fitter or be fitter, you've got to want it at the end of the day, haven't you?
Massively, yeah. I mean, I think also you've got to have trust in the process, but you've really got to want it. I mean, I remember when I was in the first lockdown, I didn't weigh myself for the whole of the first lockdown, but mainly because our scales were rubbish. They told me I was 70 kilos. You've been
on them again.
They told me I'm 10 now. No, but yeah, I didn't weigh myself throughout that whole lockdown because I trusted the process I was doing.
Right.
You've got to trust it and you've got to want it. And I remember being in training sometimes, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, do I really want it that badly? Do I want it?" And then I'll be thinking, "Yes, I do."
Right.
I remember being on bike rides and such, and I'd push myself on my bike rides.
Yeah.
Sometimes go out on my own, and I'd be thinking, "Do I want it that badly that I'm going to push it? Am I going to try and beat this PB and stuff?"
Right.
And I'd be thinking in my head, "Well, imagine what it's going to be like when I finish. When I've got my end results."
Yeah, there's a lot to being positive, isn't there? Like you say, if you've got negative thoughts and everything else, what's the point?
Exactly.
And people do wane and people do go back to it. I get that. That's not a problem. But like you're saying, I mean, you can do it without a gym. It just makes life easier with a gym, doesn't it?
Massively, yes. Yeah, it makes life easier. Not just with a gym, but a good gym as well makes it even easier.
Right.
So a good gym will help you motivate yourself. Like you'll get extrinsic motivation from it. So you'll get other people coming in and saying to you, "Oh, you've done fantastic," or
You see, that's a big issue. That's lovely, isn't it?
Massively.
It really is. Somebody's actually noticing the fact that, and you might not notice it yourself. Because we are quite blinkered, aren't we? I'm not losing. But somebody sees just that little change in you. You're almost like you're elevated, aren't you?
Massively. I have a phrase that I use: "You're the first to criticise yourself and you're the last one to praise yourself."
Right.
And in this aspect of weight loss, you're the first person to see your negative parts, but you're the last person to see your progression.
Right.
Because I always say, when I lived in lockdown as well, lived with my family in lockdown, they saw me losing the weight before I even did.
Yeah.
After about 4 to 6 weeks, my mum turned around and said, "You lost a lot of weight." I was like, "Have I?" Not seeing it myself.
Sure.
And, so thinking that,
Yeah.
first one to criticise myself, thinking, "Oh, I need to lose this," or,
Right.
and the last person to see how well you've done. And when I'd lost all my weight, I saw, how well I'd done. But people out there who hadn't seen me were honestly shocked. When that post went up on Code Fitness, my mum started crying. And my dad.
Ah, bless her, really?
Yeah, my mum started crying because she couldn't believe how well I'd done. And like some of her friends did as well, saying how fantastic I'd done.
Yeah.
So it's
amazing, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Whereas I just saw it as what's my everyday, I'm used to it now. So you know, so you're not going to give yourself the same, like, unless you're in the proper mindset, you're not going to give yourself the best motivation that someone, as opposed to maybe someone else does.
How, just before we finish, because I mean we've covered an awful lot, and thank you very much for that this morning. Motivational terms and quotes and everything else, yeah, because I know that Code have got them around the place, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know, how does that work in mindset?
It works massively. I mean, you've got to be invested in it. You've got to understand and invest the motivational quotes into your everyday life. So for example, a lot the quotes up there, they're fantastic and they say who's written it, but I think you've got to understand the backstory of that person as well.
Right.
So there's one up there by, I can't remember, David Goggins. A lot of people won't know who David Goggins is, and then so I saw the quote, I was thinking, that's quite a good quote, you know. Research behind it. Absolutely amazing person. He's, you know.
What was it? Tell us a bit quick.
I can't remember the quote itself, but I think he was quite a large person, lost all his weight, became an ultra-marathon runner, and from there changed his life completely. And so the quote that comes up, you've got to sort of think, you know, is like that quote sort of, he abides by it, you know, he swears by it, and, you know, it's something that I could take on as well.
Right.
I think also one thing that does help me is a lot of people will say music is a big motivation. Some people will say, I don't like listening to music whilst training, you know, which is fair enough completely. I think you've got to understand the music better in order to be able to train better to it. So there's some songs out there that I'd listen to most sessions that would have motivational quotes in. You know, for example, just an example, Chasing Status, there's a song there, you know, with George the Poet, has a lot of motivational quotes in there. And from there, you know, once you start to listen to them, you start getting that motivation from it, and it can help push you. And you know, that's one thing that helped me as such. Music really helped me with keeping that motivation there during my sessions.
I think the other thing is, you know, with regards to music, is, you know, down at most gyms, I believe, they have that pumping, you know, going through, and that's actually a rhythm, isn't it? You know, you get all those different tunes playing out there. They've all got a different rhythm, and it's actually picking. Because what I found was that I could actually, like you say, work out to a specific rhythm, and it might not be. I might be doing it too quick, but I'm thinking, God, do you know what? Yeah, this is okay, and actually, I do feel a lot better.
Definitely, yeah. There's especially with, like, let's say cardio, for example. You can't, like, well, you'll struggle a lot more to do, like, to be more efficient in your cardio when you're, for example, walking, if every step isn't in tune with the music.
Right.
So if you find a more of an upbeat song, you know, faster paced song, you might get more steps.
Well, you do, don't you? I mean, it's like me when I'm driving. I'm not being funny. My foot goes to the pedal when I hear Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? I'm whipping down there, but yeah, no, that's a fair point to make. Look, I'd like to say thank you very much for this morning. You really are an inspiration to a lot of people because, like you say, I mean, you were a big boy. See the emphasis on the big. Yeah. Not anymore. You know, I mean, you're good-looking, strapping lad. You know, you've invested your time and your effort into, you know, your career and everything else. I don't know what else to say to you except congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Rory, have a good day.
And yourself.